go ahead. Sorry.
One thing I recently implemented, what I feel like has separated, the average individual in comparison to like the elite in obtaining more referrals through business is follow-ups beyond the sale. So excluding the AI drip and getting that client to close the deal, what I've also been doing is inserting their birth dates, getting to know them on a personal level and knowing their anniversary dates, specific major holidays that I know individuals partake in. So just following up, whether it's an email or a quick text or mailing a physical card, maintaining my clients in that way to show that I'm going above and beyond just getting that life insurance in place and actually following up beyond the sale has helped me not only obtain more business organically, but it also helps me keep up and maintain with my clients because eventually it gets to the point where they want to maybe add an additional service or increase the current coverage that they have in place, which ultimately brings them back to me in, regards to if there's multiple agents that in the world that exist, they know that Cody goes above and beyond, which creates that foundation, for long term, especially. But yeah, just little stuff like that outside of the AI drips, sending text messages, emails, mailing cards, birthdays, holidays, whatever the case is, just to show that we are human too.
I love that. I've sent like Christmas cards out, but birthday cards, and for me, probably like birth of the business cards is kind of where my mind, because I've got all that information. Kenny.
I do really like to expand on Cody's point because everything that he said was 100% correct, right? But another layer to it is also making it feel like a collaboration the whole time, right? Making it feel like you are their partner, right? You're working with them, not for them, right? So for example, if they need an explanation for something, you know, there should be no problem. Just go with it step by step, walk them through it, and then help them understand that this is the process and we're working on this at the same time. And you can also make it your own, right? So everybody's situation is very different, obviously. But when you meet them where they are, it really helps to build up that connection and that rapport. Um, Even when you bring it to a basic conversation, right? Like on a discovery call, you find things in common, you get to know them, and then you build on that and always make them feel like it's a partnership.
I love all that. I'm taking notes tonight. Nate.
Yeah, kind of just build off what these two said. Kind of don't treat them like a number. I think when it comes to clients, and when you do get the ball rolling, you start getting more clients and you start doing more projects, it's always important to remember like they're still human, so treat them as such. Like say happy birthdays, do little handwritten stuff, do little gestures, check on them outside of business. That way you can maintain that partnership and it does feel like okay, this guy actually cares about me and this guy or girl actually cares about me and my business and me outside of my business. They care about my family, care about how my community is doing. So just making sure you maintain that human aspect of business is always important.
Amazing. These are so good. All of them. Z.
Yeah, I was gonna add, and this is building on what everyone shared. So our relationship with our clients starts the moment we meet them. Because my husband and I are very relational people. And over the years, we've just learned on keeping track of what we have conversations on. So when we have a meeting, whether it's face to face or live, or even if we're just talking to you before you're even a client, we always ask people like, why do you do what you do? Why did you start that business? What are your goals? Or even if it's not a business client, or like, what role are you currently in? Was that your passion? What is actually your passion? Things like that. And or what excites you about what you do. And that typically gets them sharing beyond just like job title and this is what I do for work. Because typically when you ask someone what do you do, they just tell you their job title. But you can go layers deeper and and then you start to figure out what their hot buttons are. And for that, so we keep a lot of notes on people within in our like within their contact. Every time we get a contact, we'll put all the notes, and then we organize it, how we do, but it's always there. And then through that conversation, let's say we do book a consultation with that person, then you start to find out they have kids' birthdays. So that's another thing. Birthdays, their kids' birthdays, it's on repeat in our calendar every year. Any special trips coming up, that's another thing. They may be taking a cruise next week. So we'll follow up and say, hey, how was that cruise? So it's very high touch, and you really have to be very intentional. Um, Other things that we've done is if the client, so we had a client that invited us to an event that was at their business location. We had never been there. We hadn't been there yet because we operate virtually. And there was going to be music and food. And so my husband and I took our son. So now they're meeting our entire family live. And so it further built that connection. So different things like that's like we figure out ways to have multiple touch points, whether it's, through cards, like someone's mentioned, physically, or if it's text of special moments that are very dear to them. And that really helps to just seal the relationship where you can take someone that you've never known, and before you know it, within a couple months, you guys you know so much about them, and you're so tight.
Yeah, I feel like at least in my role, in a money management role, you tend to get to know your clients very intimately, very quickly, or like they're either really open to you or they're like really guarded because they know like you basically are going to learn everything about them. You're going to learn kids, birthdays, interests, because like at least for me, like I see what they're spending their money on, I see what trips are going on. In a lot of cases, I'm on site and I'll see like so and so has 4 snowmobiles in the storage room out back. So I know he's like really into that, like I learn a lot of these things, and that helps build rapport just naturally, not with like this sense of need for rapport, but like it just organically shows up. And you and I were talking about this earlier, like on-site visits to clients. It's not the norm anymore post-COVID world. And for me, I was remote mostly to begin with, but it's really important for me and probably for a lot of us all to go visit our clients in real life, see what they're doing with their day, see what the store looks like or the facility, and kind of get a hands-on experience. And I know I'm able to serve my client base so much better if I get an inside look at what they're doing. And sometimes, I'm going into like cannabis grows, so like they can be really guarded on for security reasons, for obvious security reasons. Like there's very high value inventory and there have been known to be, theft in that industry. But at the same time, like as you and I were talking about this specific situation, like, for me, I need to classify cost of goods sold really precisely, as that's all they get. And if I see an Amazon purchase for computer paper, I'm like, oh, that's an office supply. But then I go into the grow and I see like they've got a clipboard on the front door with an inch thick of papers, and it's got the feeding schedule and the watering schedule and the nutrient schedule all on the door. I'm like, okay, that's no longer just like your average office supply. That's now a grow supply because they're managing their grow with that paper. And it's made a massive difference in tax bills, just visiting on site and seeing those little things going on. Like I really know what's going on with this, just like punching away at home, out of touch with everything, makes a big difference.
And can I add something to that as well? So as much as we go out of our way to look out for clients as a whole, I also don't want people to get turned off by that client who's like, I came here for your service. This is all I wanted. Have a nice life. I have a client where I've called him, I've followed up, I've sent text messages, etc. He's got his policy packet, so on and so forth. And he's just like, Cody, you're a great guy, nothing against you, but I'm very like antisocial. I like to keep my, personal space private, etc., so on and so forth. And we don't want to get our feelings hurt when it comes to that. So I think there's going to be a select few individuals within our book of business that may or may not want to connect on a personal level. And I think that we should not take that personally or, negate anything within the process.
Yeah, adapt, make them feel comfortable, make them feel at home. Yeah, I agree with that. Thoughts on managing the clients and the projects that come. Like sometimes, I'll take on, here's an example. I just re-signed, I'm gonna call it a client that was non-compliant. I'm using a lot of air quotes here, okay? They were non-compliant, and I've just been present on social media. They're like, we need you to come back. And I've got like 3 years of cleanup to do, future projects to do, cash receipts, bank accounts to set up, sales tax to file, old payroll accounts to file. Like I have my way of tracking all of that kind of stuff, but just wondering, if you've got these clients with huge, Kenny, I'm sure you do, huge to-do lists, like what are you doing to track that stuff and stay on top of your team? Yeah, Kenny.
So I'm so glad you brought this up. So I guess the first thing is first. After I have an initial discovery call with a potential client or prospect, I usually just make a list of phases, right? So step one is obviously wireframing, right? That's like fleshing out the details of the project, right? They're telling me the scope of it, what exactly are the schematics, how do they want it to be programmed, right? So all those little minute details, right, is called wireframing. That's the first step. And then the second step is development, right? And then the third step is approval, right? So after everything is developed, you have to give us a thumbs up or thumbs down, right? So for each project, I'm tracking which stage it's actually at. Are we in wireframing? Are we in development? Or are we in the approval stage, right? And so I keep track of it, usually on like an Excel sheet. I'm not gonna lie, I use Excel. Um, but it's just for simple stuff, right? So yeah, I'm keeping track of what stage the project is at, how many projects do I have coming up. So that way I kind of just don't lose my head, you know, keeping track of, oh my God, is this done? Is this not done? Does this have yet to be done? So it really keeps my head from spinning around, just keeping everything organized and knowing where everybody's at. And my rapport, my connection with them as well. Like, is it my first time? Are they coming back for something? Kind of like Cody was saying.
So you're not using a CRM, you're using Excel as your
Yep.
CRM.
Yeah.
That's wild to me. I would think that you guys would be using something more than that.
Well, that's
I
for me
use
personally.
G-Sheet,
Yeah.
which I love, but I'm, relatively small scale. Nate,
Kenneth, that's insane. I just wanted to say that is insane. For what we do, that's
yeah.
insane. I'm not you're a superhuman. Not gonna for you to keep up. You either insane or you're a superhero. So that's
I
the
appreciate that.
Superhero. We'll go with superhero.
Mhm.
What do you
Abigail, what
use,
was the
Nate?
software you use?
I use Google Sheets.
Oh, Google Sheets.
But I'm exploring, like, through this whole conversation that we had, it was 3 weeks ago now. I'm like really trying to figure out if AI can do this. Like, can AI do this? Can I trust AI to do this? I've been doing this myself for so long and I have a system that works. So that makes me nervous. Also, like some of these AIs are actually, I think they're just like kind of rebranding themselves as AI, and they've existed. Like Monday, for example, is like, that's a software that's been going on for a while. Like it's really just a table and checklist thing, which I've just formulated my own version of that. Um, there's a couple others that do the same thing where you basically you just have to input the data, same as any other. And which is why I'm not sure if it's like a solution that will work for me or not, because I've already got a brain dump somewhere. So I might as well just do it on this. Actually, I have this, I call it the epic sheet. It's like my epic year, and it's literally got like 3 years on it, and every week. I mean, I haven't used it in probably a month or two because everything's been changing so much, but and I just like brain dump all my projects and like check box. But that's what I use for my CRM, you know? And then I've got my sales, my invoicing through QuickBooks. But I don't track or have any notifications on birthdays or anniversaries or anything like that, which I really like that idea of implementing. Probably for me, it would be like the start date, which I've got for everybody. So
Yeah,
am I not alone here with the spreadsheets then?
No,
I
I use
just wanted to.
Sheets.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Cody.
No, I just wanted to say as well. So I do use Google Sheets, but to an extent. But the
Yeah.
CRM that I use is called Ringy, Ringy. And when you input clients' information, whether the start date, their birthday, their home state, full name, doesn't matter. There's little automated text drips within that. So if you're an individual who doesn't prefer to handwrite things, Ringy will automatically send those things out on their birthdays, on the anniversary dates, and then you can categorize your leads amongst different, strategies in that sense. But yeah, Ringy is a great platform. I think it's like $106 or $109 a month or something like that.
Dang. Anyone else using a CRM? Or like, yeah, Nate.
So I use a CRM. Mine is more so custom built for the particular way that we do things. But I do have a guy that does CRM. Like he kind of gamifies it for most of his clients. So basically, you'll have like all the information, you'll have it put into like you'll have the clients enter their information and they'll get put into certain things. And then the more you interact with the client, the more points they get. And it'll like go up in your CRM. So it can be like, hey, this is technically my favorite client. Let me do this or do this. Or this client, kind of like what Cody's saying, he doesn't really want personal touch. He just wants the work done. So I forgot his name. I gotta look at the message, but he kind of builds out custom CRMs. So
That's cool. We had someone in here a couple weeks ago that was doing like a gamified to-do list platform, which
yeah.
I've seen a couple of times. Sumant, I hope I got that right.
Yeah, that's right, Abigail. So coming to your question regarding CRM, we have worked with a client specifically to build this CRM, and the client actually has a lot of customers basically. So they want to have a kind of insights and dashboards so that they can recognize whoever wants a kind of service at a point of time. Let's say during Thanksgiving, if the client wants to have some of your services, it should be automated rather than working with each and every individual. So we have integrated it with the AI chatbots and AI agents so that they can do it more automated rather than spending more time on each and every customer. So that is something I personally think right now is essential to like integrate the AI things into the CRM. Basically, yeah, let's say Excel, as mentioned by someone in the even Excel, there's a lot of pivot charts and bar charts, line charts. These kind of charts can give a more clear and pictorial representations of the financial outcomes or the trends which we are working with them. So yeah, that's something I'd like to just bring out over this conversation. Yeah.
Awesome. This is all really interesting to me right now. Stephen, and if you'd like to introduce yourself, Stephen.
Yeah, sure. So I'm currently in Brazil and from Australia, but so these may not be relevant, but I've heard some good things about Notion, but I always sort of go with the ones that are free. So HubSpot has a free CRM for smaller users, and things like MailChimp, for example, you can upload your spreadsheet into that, and it'll automatically send out a personalized birthday message and give you lists. And so there's plenty around. I mean, I've come from a financial advice background. There's ones like Xplan where that's more a CRM for financial advice, but literally it'll give you a report on who's got birthdays for the next 30 days, and it'll give you all that kind of stuff. So there's plenty out there. You just got to kind of weigh up costs versus benefit, but there's a lot of people offer a free version up to a certain amount of users, and that's probably the ones to go with first.
Yeah, interesting. I used MailChimp for a while, but I kind of maxed out that platform once I started hosting these.
They're charging now, yeah. So.
They're charging a lot now, and my my course platform hosts my course, does all my email, unlimited emails on there for like not very much money a month. And it's
I'm
not
exploring Mail. There's one called Mailer Lite. I'm exploring at the
Mhm.
moment. It's meant to be similar to MailChimp, and it's free. So yeah, if I get
Yeah.
further down,
My course platform is through System.io. It's SYSTEMEIO, and it's like, I mean, of all the course platforms, like I'm not sure who's familiar with them. Kajabi is a pretty big one that a lot of people use. That's like extremely expensive every month, and it's worth it, you know, cost analysis if you've got like a lot of people signed up. System.io has very user-friendly dashboard, very clean, sleek look, and it's like 20 bucks a month, and I can have unlimited emails. Kajabi's like $500 a month. More customization available in there. But so far, like I don't have the roster yet to really warrant being in something of that nature. But I guess that would be a CRM too. Any other thoughts on that? Project management? So do your CRMs do project management for you? I'm doing
sorry,
one
you're
all
asking that to me.
and everyone.
Yeah, look
Everyone,
at
like,
things like HubSpot. You can
yeah,
once you develop past the free version, you can script it to do whatever you want. Same with Salesforce and a lot of these other ones.
yeah,
You just got to sort of understand how to do it. I think a lot of people pay for these subscriptions and never spend the time on using it, so it's just a waste of money. But I've got pretty advanced with things like HubSpot and Salesforce with personalized messages going out regularly. So all your communication, you want to send it out to 200 people, personalized messages, you can do all that. Yeah, you can set up reminders, you can set up custom reporting to see what's going on with your sales database and everything. It's pretty advanced if you're prepared to pay for it and spend a bit of time on it. So yeah.
Salesforce, you mean, or HubSpot?
But both can do it, but HubSpot's significantly cheaper. Salesforce is
Yeah.
just a waste of money. I think it's got a good name, especially in Australia. Everyone's using it, but no one knows how to
Here
use
as
it.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, what I'm thinking about is like, you know, communication with clients is great, and necessary, but I'm thinking more like internally assigning tasks and, you know, making sure that things actually get done. Nate.
If you're looking for like something that like it's pretty simple, free to use, I'll say Trello for project management.
I've used Trello, yeah.
Trello, if you need more advanced features, probably don't want Trello unless you're going to pay for somebody to customize it for you. But for a free version, for like pretty simple stuff of just, hey, this project is here, assign this here. Whenever this moves, the person gets alerted. Trello is pretty good for that. And it's free. So
Yeah, I have actually liked Trello for that. I have. Kenny.
So kind of my go-to for some of my clients is actually Zoho. It offers some pretty in-depth analytics and customer relationship building. And then on top of that, it also offers forecasting, right? So if you need more data in that sense, which I know you're a big numbers girl. So yeah, it definitely makes it easier to keep track of things like numerically, and then again, keep track of clients at all touch bases, I would say.
Interesting. I've seen Zillow, Zoho from
I
an
do like
accounting
Zillow too.
standpoint. And for accounting, it is not one I would recommend. They do, I mean, they offer a free version, which is why some startups will use it. There's serious limitations from an accounting standpoint to it, but it does have a great CRM, is why people will choose it, which I'm just going to share an additional thought. Like a lot of project management softwares, for any vertical, they all, and even like point of sale systems for retail stores or restaurants, they all offer like an accounting package. And I'm gonna go like this because they are a point of sale or project management first, and then they get a bright idea that they can do accounting too, but they're not accountants. They don't understand it, and it has, not only does it have serious limitations, like as far as like building out a balance sheet, but it has functional issues where you can't like undo things that you've done, and you create these huge messes. And just because it's free doesn't mean it's good. You get what you pay for, you know?
No, absolutely. Yeah, that's right. It does depend on the industry.
They all offer it. I was just working, the reason one of the reasons I brought this whole conversation up is I'm working with a contractor right now who is using a project management software called House Call Pro. It's a relatively small project management software. I like it. I've done a cost analysis with another client versus some of these other, like Service Titan is another one of them. Cost wise, it's a lot cheaper. It's a smaller company. Your voice is heard. If there's an issue, you'll get a real human being that will actually help you. And like you can make an impact on the direction of the company based on what it's lacking or what you need, which is pretty cool. But this client is doing accounts receivable through it. And with a little bit of attention and like regular attention, it works fantastically. But if you miss a step, it doesn't screw everything up. But for example, they sent an estimate out. They sent like 5 estimates out. Client accepts it. It should then be converted to an invoice immediately, but you have to manually do it. So it's not converting to an invoice. No one's converting it to an invoice. They're having a verbal conversation. Hey, 30% down to get us to schedule you out. And check is then received. Deposit is made in the account. No updates are made. And now it's called Pro. And I had to like go through this whole, they're a new client. So I'm like, okay, but to get from step A to step B, you have to notify the client, like, accepted, here's an invoice for $100,000, but they've already paid $30,000. They only owe 70, but I gotta send them one for 100. Like,
Right now, you got to go back and fix it.
not skip this step, because then the client is gonna get this email saying something wrong. So we had to like make a workaround for it, get it all cleaned up. But otherwise, I think it's a great like House Call Pro if you're in contracting. It's fantastic. You can, not only can you do estimates like detailed itemized, but then when it's accepted, it's converted to a job, put on the schedule, and then the job will go like step by step by step, what materials you need, what you need to start with, like, and the actual process of the job, schedule the team right in there, and then like you can follow the in contracting, you have to, not always, but it's a good idea to have a work in progress. So like you can track completion, and then you can adjust your books at the end of the year based on over or under billing. And that will do it all for you in real time, as long as you're like checking off the boxes. But it comes up with steps too, because it's a huge software. It's also got a book of materials. So like if you need a nut and a bolt, it'll say Home Depot, it's 50 cents, Lowe's, it's 45 cents. So you go to Lowe's. Like it's really crazy. An electrical company I was working for a while, they're really far up north, far away from like big box stores. So they had a little bit of an issue getting the products, and they can vary so much. Like electrical companies, like there's a lot of copper, product prices fluctuate all the time, especially with tariffs and all of that. So, but it keeps it, if it's pretty mainstream, you're going through mainstream vendors, it's live time, and you can like, I think you can even place orders through there if you're like well established enough in the software. Like that's a comprehensive project management software. Like truly, CRM, everything.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it's my go-to. And I apologize. I had no idea that for the accounting industry, it had that like limitation. I just saw it offered a lot of
Oh,
numerical data. I was like, ooh, must be.
yeah. Zoho.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a million out there that will do it all. And they say they do it. Like Square, if you've got a point of sale system, you know, if you go to a restaurant and you Clover is another one, they'll sell you an add-on for accounting software. I have a good high school friend that's like selling for, it's one of those, it's like Clover, or it's a point of sale system where you go into a restaurant and they have like the iPads or whatever. And he's like texting me and he's like, yeah, we have accounting software too. And he's like, you know, and he used some really specific language. And I was like, do you even know what you've said to me? Do you know what you're saying? You're just saying words that are buzzy and fit into what I want to hear. Because I'm gonna ask you questions and you're not gonna be able to answer them. He's like, you caught me. I have no idea what that. I'm like, okay. The fact that you don't know what that means that you probably shouldn't be selling that, in my opinion, at least to a professional. If you want to sell it to an ignorant business owner, I think there's moral issues there, but whatever. Stick to the point of sale, sell that. Stay away from the accounting. That's my perspective anyway.
No, I agree.
Anyone else? HubSpot, I'm reading the comments here. Trello is really nice to look at too. It's nice to like check things off and move them out. Google Sheets, the OG. That's where I live.
So another thing I'll add to it as well. I'm not personally against it, but I also don't utilize it. I do know a lot of people in the insurance space do. Is the onlinejobs.ph, where you can hire an individual within the Philippines and you're paying them anywhere from $1 to $5 per hour. I'm scrolling through right now. There's like executive assistants, project manager, copywriting assistant, just there's over 3 million different people on this site that you can utilize. And one of my individuals within our agency with the previous upline used one where he was paying her $1.42 an hour. And she was, I'm sorry, $1.82 an hour, which is $320 a month, where she's working 8 hours per day, in which she's handling everything. And this is a physical human doing this rather than, an automated system. So if you're somebody who's like, oh, I really don't want to use AI directly, but I want to connect with an actual human, I've heard great results come from the individuals within the Philippines. And I mean, if you can hire somebody on full time for $1.82 an hour, it might be something to consider for sure. So I don't have any personal experience with it, but I know a lot of individuals who have.
Yeah, that electrical contractor that I worked with for, we had to part ways for specific reasons, but he was using someone to do bids for him. They did a lot of government contracts. And when you do a government contract, you basically have to manage the project before you even win the bid. So you gotta like step by step do a cost analysis, and you really want to strategize and win the bid. So you got to get the cost of the materials, you got to plan out the labor, you got to plan out like the length that you're going to install every day. And he hired out that person to the Philippines. He'd actually been working with that guy for a very long time and got really great results. The guy did a thorough job, regular communication, Zoom calls, everything. I don't have any issues with that other than like fair wages, but fair wages is definitely relative. I mean, I was in Bali in May, and a dollar will go a long, long way there. But there's still, I don't know, an advantage being taken, I think.
But also to also add into that, these individuals who are creating their accounts are filling out like what kind of work they're looking for, how active they are. They have personal reviews. They're setting their hourly rate. So you will go in and find somebody who's making $1.82 an hour, but then you can also find somebody who's making $5.45 an hour. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think it's just based on qualifications and what these people have in regards to their background, customer service, sales, financial literacy, etc.
I'm seeing some as high as 10 just in the virtual assistant. Companies trust us. Uber, Google, Canva, Speedo. Interesting.
I'll drop the main one in the chat for the one we, at least people within our agency utilize.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at right now. That's cool. I mean, paying people, that's where I start to think. Nate, go ahead.
Not particularly on this topic, but just product management. Um, if you if you're doing it by yourself and you have like all these moving pieces, I'll say like just try one CRM out and like try to simplify the way you do things, like write it down, like in a way that you will be able to train somebody else. That way, when you do like start building out the CRM, or you start hiring people or hire somebody to build out the CRM, it's a lot easier and a lot more cheaper because they don't have to spend so much time trying to get to know you. What's your process? All right, what about this? What about this? So kind of just map out everything that you do in terms of the process, the type of clients you work with, everything. Write it down, keep it simple. Like don't add any complex things like, oh, I do this, and then if this happens, I do this. Just a simple process, and then start building out your own CRM on Trello, HubSpot, any of the free versions. See how that looks, and then like when you come back and you want more advanced features, then it's easy to add on.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of SOPs. I have manuals for every one of my clients. I think that's so important. I push that on everybody I work with, like simple, but also like I do it for dummies, those books for dummies, X, Y, and Z for dummies. Like I write my manuals as if, and my mom is totally to blame for this. Every time she would get on an airplane, she would write me a letter as a child. Okay. Childhood trauma right here. As a child, she would write a letter and say, this is where you access all of my client information. Here's a zip drive. Like if I die on the plane, I'm like literally like 10 years old, and she's got these things under her blotters. But it left an impact on me. So I have manuals for every one of my clients that is written in such a way, like here are the things that we do every week. And then beneath it, I can pretty much copy and paste from my core one with screenshots, click here, go here, this, that. Here's how, if you don't know what to do with a certain vendor, this is how you figure it out. And I pretty much, when I onboard a new employee, I'm like, go to the manual. Go to the manual. I will talk to you about how to use QuickBooks and stuff like that. But if you are asking me a question that I know is in the manual, I know you're not looking at it. And it helps onboard new employees. Like, I might give them a couple hours of training.
Yeah, I got a video that like walks down like our dashboard, like how to request videography campaigns, where this will be like just a whole video separated, and like they kind of got to go through it before our discovery call, and then we talk about like, hey, well, not necessarily discovery call, but through the initiation process, like then we talk about like, do you know how to do this? Do you know how to do this? And we walk through it and like, okay, so now we're about to focus on this. Then we get into like the campaign development and all that.
Has anyone used those? I see ads for it all the time, probably because I talk about SOPs and the ethers are listening. Those screen recording app, like add-ons to your web browser, where you can like have it create an SOP for you based on what your workflow is while you're doing it. No one has seen those. Oh boy. Why do I see those and you all don't? This is
But now that you mentioned it, I'm gonna see it
targeted.
now.
Yeah, you're gonna see it now. I've got to Google this.
Abigail's voice just did most of the marketing for that little app.
Yeah, it's probably gonna pop
Yeah.
up for each
It's
one of us at some point
yep,
now.
about to pop up
Yeah,
on every platform, Google,
Loom does it.
Instagram.
Yeah. SOPs, screen recording, SOPs, screen recording.
Oh
Now
my
you're all
God.
it's gonna come out. It's probably there already. That's how sick the world is. Scribe. Browser screen recorder. Scribe AI's powered browser screen recorder can save you hours by recording your screen directly from your browser to build powerful visual guides.
Okay, I heard of Scribe, but I heard of Scribe like a while back, like probably
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Yeah,
I guess they're more advanced now. It wasn't
I
called
think
Scribe AI, it was just called Scribe. So
everybody is going on the AI trend, but it's stuff that's kind of existed and they're just like
yeah,
relabeling it.
it's very remarkable. Grammarly.
Grammar.
Grammarly, Grammarly just added the AI. Like we already knew it was like technically AI, but they just added the AI part so people would know. Like, hey, Grammarly, we're AI. We've been helping you write for years.
People must be Googling grammar AI instead of Grammarly. One extra keystroke there.
Did they
Interesting.
change the name or is it the same Grammarly?
Is it Grammarly AI?
Grammarly is
Okay.
still the same. They
Yeah, still
just
Grammarly, yeah.
yeah, when you go to the website, it just says Grammarly and then it has the AI thing
Yeah.
so people know. And it says AI writing, AI does this. And it's like Grammarly did the same thing forever. We don't
Okay.
need more information. We're like, oh, this is AI now.
Yeah, it's got AI all over. When you Google search Grammarly, it's the keyword AI is on everything when it pops up. Interesting. So,
And wait, real quick. So
yeah,
professors, like I remember back when I was in school, professors used to say use Grammarly before you go to the writing center and do all this to like make sure that there's no grammar corrections and all this. So now, like, since there is like a big thing where professors like don't use AI, I wonder if there's like a conflict with don't use AI, but Grammarly's an AI doctor. Like,
first of all, how old am I that this was not an option for me? Okay. This was not an option. I mean, we could use literally cliffnotes.com.
I had
That
Cliff
lands
Notes,
anywhere.
Spark Notes. Ours was
Yeah.
Spark Notes though.
Spark
Spark
Notes,
Notes had more. Cliff Notes would like pay for this.
Grammarly, or I just had like Word that would say, hey, you spelled that wrong. And then my spelling is so bad that I would have to like try to get it closer to even recognize some of the words I was trying to use. My life is still kind of like that in my texting. But I didn't have Grammarly.
Yeah, Grammarly, we had another one, but it was through Blackboard, which was like how our college operated, and it was like plagiarism check.
Yeah,
So
plagiarism check. That's right.
so they'll like go to Grammarly for your grammar and all this. Like Grammarly wasn't as built out as it is now. And then we'll take that from Grammarly, put it in Blackboard, and it'll have like the plagiarism check. Like, and your professor kind of said, "Yo, you have to do this. I'm not going to read it unless you do this because I don't want to knack you for plagiarism and all this. Make sure you have block quotes and all that." So we'll have to go through like write the essay, go to Grammarly, put
First
it through Grammarly,
citation.
Yep.
take it
Got
to
to jump through
Grammarly.
hoops just to get a
Yeah.
paper done.
Once you get through Grammarly, now you gotta print it out, take it to the writing
Yep.
center. Once you go to the writing center, take it back to your thing and put it into the plagiarism check. Then you submit it. So yeah,
But
college.
it's becoming very smart right now to see whether it's AI generated or non-AI generated. So it's hard to
How
find out.
how does the plagiarism play out with AI? Anyone know?
I think I think it works kind of the same because when we would get plagiar like it's mostly like you don't cite your sources. Like for most
Right.
of like plagiarism. So AI though, I feel like when it can see the sources. So if you put like say if you just copy something from AI, if you put it into like Grammarly or something like that, I think Grammarly has a feature now where it says AI detection. Like this is AI. This is what you'll get flagged
Yeah.
for all these things. So technically, kids can low key cheat still. They could just take out the words. So they definitely
Loki,
got it better
high
than.
key
Yeah.
cheating.
Yeah. Just switch some words around. It's not plagiarism
Yeah, I
anymore.
feel like now
Yeah.
that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure my nephew is probably using this to cheat.
I mean, I would have been.
Me too.
I would have been in
And I get
the
paid to write. I
English
always use it.
literature classes. Like that was not my area.
Yeah, but I do remember the Spark Notes though and the Cliff Notes. So you're not that far ahead, Abigail. We're right there with you.
Yeah, we right there. We right there.
Yeah.
I know your secret.
Yeah. No, I'm never gonna live that one down. After that conversation with Kevin, and I made one comment that was related to age, I was like, I'm not gonna say any more age-related comments after that.
Oh, what was the
So
comment? What was the comment? What's the comment?
Nothing. It was
Penny
just
was
like,
a young buck,
yeah,
very young man.
yeah. Abigail and I were talking about different generations. I was like, and
He
she said
uses
something
words
about,
like Lizzie.
yeah. Oh my God. That's true.
Like
That's
this.
that
Uh,
is true.
so wait, talking about what generation are you in, Ken? Because we're
Uh,
in the same generation.
Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You,
I'm
are
I'm
you
20.
even like
I'm
on the
24.
cusp, like Z and Alpha? You're right there.
Yeah,
You're
we're on the
young.
cut.
I think
But
so.
I don't like the generation thing because we get lumped in with the younger people.
Yeah.
Like too young. Like
Right. I tell
I'm
people I'm an old
a
soul, but I'm young at heart, you know.
yeah.
I'm a millennial, and I get lumped in with like the entitled millennial, lazy, and I'm like, that's not. I'm more like Gen X. I don't like this conversation. I do not like the direction we just
You
took.
see how her face sir.
I'm like at a point where I'm like, like taking a hard right turn. Yeah. Anyway, so let's recap. Project management. Everybody really likes the G sheets. We're gonna go with Excel. Like that's the winner, I think. But there's all kinds of options, customizable. Trello, being a big fan. I like the visualization on that, but ultimately, I like my spreadsheets. I really like my spreadsheets, and I can share my G sheets with my whole team, keep an eye on them real time. There's no email notifications. I just have it open, which Trello theoretically could be the same way, but it's just like adding a step for me. Any other thoughts before we sign off?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do want to say, first of all, I take that comment back. All right. It's been haunting me ever since that
I
one
don't even
time.
remember what it is.
It was something about age, because you were talking about something you had growing up, or like, going to school and stuff. I was like, oh, I never had that. You were like, damn.
I
Like,
think you're also talking about glizzies, straight up.
yeah, no glizzies though. No glizzies.
Maybe I was talking about glizzies.
Nah, Nate knows exactly what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, that's I'm sorry about that. But we also learned today that Zoho is good for project management. However, it may not be so good for the accounting industry.
Yeah, all project management, I would say be wary of accounting add-ons.
Absolutely. And with that said, I do have to hop off, but this has been an absolute pleasure, you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
You're not allowed
What's
to
the
sign
quote?
off without
What's the
your
Oh,
closing
all right.
statements.
You're right. You're right. I'm not allowed to
That's
leave without a quote,
fine.
guys.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have mine, Kenny. It's fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you want to handle it this week.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Cody's
Okay, okay.
I'm matching the energy, bro. You
I'm
started
dead.
this.
I got you right now. Okay. So today's quote is going to be from Albert Schweitzer. He says, "Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. And if you love what you're doing, you will be successful."
Agreed.
Period.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Have a nice
All
night,
right, you
everybody.
can
Take care.
sign up.
You guys.
I'm just kidding. No, one of mine is short and sweet to one of my most loved people in this entire universe, Serena Williams. I don't know if anybody watches tennis out here, but she's an incredible human, an even more powerful woman. But she always says you have to believe in yourself when no one else does. I feel like there's so much noise going on around us that they may sometimes deplete our pathway to success. There's too many times where we feel like, you know what, we're done. Let's just give it in, hop on LinkedIn or hop on Indeed and look for another 9 to 5 and ultimately get back into something we told ourselves we would never ever do again. So I think that is the most important part, is we have to stay grounded and believe in ourselves when nobody else does, because there's going to be too many times where people don't believe in us. And if those people don't believe in you, regardless of friends or family, they got to go, because people at our level or even higher will never talk down to us, period.
Yes, sir.
Let the haters hate, Kenny, even if there's no quote.
Preach. You preaching, bro.
How would you say that in Gen Z?
Facts.
Facts.
No cap.
No gap. Oh God. Woo, I love you all. Thank you for being here. If you all, and I was kind of texting with Cody earlier, if you've got an idea or discussion topic for next week and you're thinking about it, like text me. You should all have my number. It's been in the emails. Text me. If you're like, I really want to talk about this, or I really need advice with this, like, I want you guys to get what you need out of this too. So by all means, send it.
No, thank you. I appreciate you as always, Abigail. And everybody, I hope you guys have a phenomenal rest of your week. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Thank
Bye.
you. You guys are great. Bye.